Hey guys, hope you're doing well. Welcome to our second virtual Wednesday of the school year. Hope school has been going well for you guys. I'm sure at this point, most, if not all of you have started. I would hope by now you guys have done something, whether that's being in person, being at home, or a little bit of both. I'm sure school's kicked off and I hope it's going well for you guys, and I hope you've been able to still keep up with some form of extracurriculars like sports and things like that. And just know that even if you're not able to be here physically, we still love you, we care about you guys, and we hope that these videos are something that can be a big help for you guys, for you. So with that, last week we started a series called Lifelines, and Lifelines are our friendships and our relationships with those around us. And the big thing we talked about was being real, and we did that through the example of Jesus and him talking to the Samaritan woman at the well. You know, at the end of that, we found out that woman was able to be real with Jesus, and Jesus was still able to love her. And our godly friendship should follow that format. People should be able to be real with you, and we should be able to be real with our friends, and for love still be present in that relationship. Not judgment, not condemnation, but love. Not excusing bad behavior, but still love. So with that, we're going to start second week here, and I have one question for you. Have you ever learned something new about yourself from your friends? Something that's surprising. Like maybe it was when they said that you have food on your face. Something right there. Or maybe they introduced you to a new hobby that you ended up loving and you never knew you would. Or maybe they finally pointed out that you've been spelling their name wrong this entire time. Now, I say that last one because, my name is Corey, and I spell it Corey. And I've had a lot of times having to tell people, there's an E in there. I still have to do that a lot today. So, not that I'm bitter, but I know what that feels like. So, like I said, this is a series called Lifelines. And the reason why we're calling it that is because our friendships should act like a flotation device when we're sinking, right? That's something that it can throw out and we can grab onto. When we know that we're sinking and desperately looking for help, that's great news that we have something there, that we know that something's there to grab onto. But have you ever been in trouble and not realized it? Have you ever had a blind spot when it comes to what's best for you? I think we've all had those moments, right? I know a time like a time when I was in college, when I was having kind of a blind spot moment. You see, this was at the end of my junior year in college, and I was part of that organization I talked about last week, OP. I was becoming a secretary. I was becoming one of the officers of the org, and with that, I was also becoming what we called a big brother for those who were joining our group. And I knew that I wanted to have we were doing the brothers, we wanted to make it so that those who were graduating really weren't part of it anymore because, they would be gone next year, they would be influenced. And there was just one guy who really wanted to be a part of something and do it. And I had to keep telling him no. And at one point, I think it was like after the third email of him bugging, I just flipped out and I went into my one friend's room named Brad and it's like, he's just bugging me, he's just making me mad, and I'm so upset. I don't understand what's going on, and why won't he listen to me? And my friend Brad was pointed out, around this time was also the time when my grandfather passed away. And he looked at me and he goes, Corey, you're not mad at him. You're mad because your grandfather died. You're taking it out on him. And it took a while for me to realize, I really wasn't that mad over this. I was frustrated at losing my grandfather, and it took a good friend to point that out. You know, and in that moment, I was surprised. I was like, what are you talking about? I'm not even thinking about that. I'm mad about this. And he said, no. This is what you're really mad at. And after I stopped and thought about it, it's like, yeah, you're right. And it took a while for me to see that. But it took also a great friend to point it out. And that's something that surprised me in that moment. But then I look at it and go, yeah, you're right. See, there are a lot of reasons why we need friends like that. You know, friends that are willing to throw us a lifeline when we just need help. And we need that. You know, we need friends who throw us a lifeline when we're drifting. You know, it's not usually one sudden movement that gets us into trouble. It's usually a series of bad habits that can just slowly pull away from who we want to be. You know, we need a friend to throw a lifeline when, you know, we're distracted. You know, little instances can become big problems when when they make us lose focus on the stuff that actually matters the most. We need a lifeline when, you know, we're drowning. You know, I don't know if you've ever felt like you were drowning in your own life before, but I mean, there definitely had moments where I have, you know, and sometimes life gets so overwhelming or just gets too hard, you know, just too sad or just too busy and too frustrating. So when we're drifting or we're distracted or drowning, we are sometimes the last people to notice. You know, so when we start to drift or we get distracted or we drown, we could all use just a friend who's just willing to disrupt us with their well-timed help, support, and challenge. So there are a lot of bad examples of friendships out there. We talked about this last week. But we have one really great example of what a friend can look like. And that's the kind of friendship that Jesus gave to people. You know, so in this series we're looking at, sort of 4 instances of where Jesus was a friend to someone who just needed him. You know, they were talking about what we can learn from Jesus' example. So what I need you guys to do is Luke chapter 10, read verses 38 to 42. So Luke chapter 10, verses 38 to 42. So like I've said before, if you need to pause, get your Bibles. If you want to open up your phones, but get to Luke chapter 10, verses 38 to 42. And it says, while they were traveling, he entered a village, and a woman named Martha welcomed him into her home. She had a sister named Mary who also sat at the Lord's feet and was listening to what he said. But Martha was distracted by her many tasks, and she came up and asked him, Lord, don't you care that my sister has left me to serve alone? So tell her to give me a hand. The Lord answered her, Martha, Martha, you are worried and upset about many things, but one thing is necessary. Mary has made the right choice, and it will not be taken away from her. Mary and Martha were 2 of Jesus' disciples. You know, and we use the term disciple a lot when we talk about, you know, Jesus, but it's important to remember that this term didn't begin with Jesus. He wasn't the first one to call someone a disciple. Disciple has a long history, you know, in the Jewish faith. A disciple is a student. You know, a student of a rabbi or a Jewish teacher. But being a disciple wasn't just about being, wasn't just about learning. It was about imitating the lessons, you know, in the life of their teacher. Mary and Martha knew Jesus was an important teacher. The most important teacher ever, actually. But they also just knew him in general. But all of that pressure must have just gotten to Martha's head, because when Jesus entered the house, she got distracted. You know, Martha was so busy trying to make everything perfect for Jesus' visit that she wouldn't sit down and just listen to him teach. She went on a house cleaning and a food preparation spree. You know, she just went around the whole house getting stuff done instead of just sitting down and listening to what was happening here. Then she got really frustrated. You know, maybe Martha was frustrated with her sister for not helping, or maybe she was frustrated with herself for prioritizing the wrong things. Either way, she took her frustration out on her sister. And Jesus made sure to call her out on it. A conversation like that is never easy. And I imagine it must have felt a little embarrassing for both Martha and really for anyone who's kind of in earshot of this. But Jesus wasn't harsh or impatient or rude. Jesus just simply, helped Martha see that what she hadn't seen before. He gave her a chance to choose a different way. So maybe Martha didn't know she had the option to simply sit with Jesus. A woman sitting at Rabbi's feet as a disciple would have been a controversial thing in that time and place, and maybe she thought, it was her job to take care of everyone else first, or that she'd be a failure if the house wasn't clean or ready to go. Maybe she was, so in the habit of helping others that she'd forgotten just how to take care of herself. So Jesus gently says, Martha, Martha, it's okay. Sit with us for a while. Let's talk. And Martha was drifting and distracted and drowning in her self-imposed responsibilities. Jesus threw her a lifeline. He helped her see something that she had never seen before, and then he gave her a chance to grow. This is a vulnerable moment. Jesus didn't condemn or shame Martha, but he didn't ignore the moment either. Jesus saw the thing Martha couldn't see in herself, and then he invited her to make a change. Jesus does this for us too. He invites us to do the same thing for each other. So last week, we read a passage of scripture that is super important. I really want to read it to you again. And actually, it's so important. I mentioned it on this past Sunday when I was preaching. That's Ephesians 5, verses 1 to 2. It says, "Therefore be imitators of God as dearly loved children, and walk in love as Christ also loved us and gave himself for us, a sacrificial and fragrant offering to God." So we are called to be imitators of God. You remember that? So does that mean that Jesus wants us to just skip out on all of our chores for the rest of our lives? No, that is not the lesson here. I would get in a lot of trouble if it was, especially with your parents. But no, that's not the lesson here. But if we're supposed to be imitators of God, then it's important to look closely at Jesus' example to see how we can be more like him in every area of our lives. And that includes our friendships. So just like Jesus gave Martha a chance to change and grow, we can imitate God in our friendships when we build friendships that help us grow. Godly friendships give you opportunities to see things you can't see in yourself. Then they challenge you to keep growing alongside people who love you and are cheering for you. So where do you need to grow? Are you drifting and distracted or drowning? Do you have the kind of friends who will help see you through or help you to see things you can't even see yourself? So that you can just become, who God has called you to be? Do you have those people in your life? Maybe you've had some bad habits that you wish you could kick, and some good habits you wish you could develop. Maybe a friendship or relationship has gotten complicated, and you can just really use an outside perspective to help you figure out what to do next. Maybe you've been working toward a personal goal for a long time now, but now you just feel stuck, and you just need someone to push you, motivate you to get going. Or maybe the way you act at church or the way you act at home is inconsistent with the way you are at school or with your friends or just everywhere else. You want to be consistent, but you're just not sure how to start. So let's take a minute. So take a minute here to thank God for the friendships that you have that have helped you grow. And if it's okay if this isn't a long list, and if you're struggling to name even one person, I want you to just take some time to ask God to bring a friend into your life who you can help you grow. And so this is what we're going to do is take some time, and as you pray and thank or ask God for friends who help you grow closer to God. Godly friends should invite you to discover more about your Creator and about God's purpose for your life. Pray for and thank God for people who help you grow as a person. Godly friends should help you see your blind spots and your weaknesses and then help you make a change. Help you grow in the way you love others. Godly friends should help you turn your focus outward, help draw you out of your comfort zone, and help you practice loving others. In godly friendships, your friends should do this for you, and you should do this for your friends. So what I would like you to do is to take all this into account and just pause the video and take some time to just create this list. All right? Take a moment, a minute, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10, however long you need, and just create this list of friends that you either have or friends that you would like to have that have helped you just become a better person, grow closer to God, and have just helped you grow and love other people. So do that now. Now that you've had a chance to think about the people who have been lifelines to you, or the people you'd like to be lifelines for you, think about 2 people. So 1 adult and 1 peer. 2 people that you can invite to help you grow when you're in deep water. All right? So when you're drifting, distracted, or drowning, who are 2 people you want to invite to throw you a lifeline? So again, it's one of those, take a moment, think about it. Who are 2 people in your life that you would like to invite to throw you a lifeline? If you can't think of anybody right now, it's okay. But also, if you need to, just pause. Just pause the video right now, and then we'll come back. But take some time to think of 2 people. Like I said, 1 adult, 1 grown-up, and someone your age or around your age that you can go to, then they will throw you a lifeline. All right. So Martha needed Jesus to throw her a lifeline so that she could see what she wasn't seeing, and finally return to the feet of God, who loves her, who always will love her. When we care for each other the way that Jesus cares for us, we'll learn to throw each other the same lifelines when we need them. Remember, godly friendships help us grow. So let's decide here to grow in our friendships with God and help each other to do the same. All right. I hope you guys are doing well. I love you guys very much. Have a great rest of your week. Like I've said before, if you need anything, please do not hesitate to get a hold of me. If you should have my number. If not, it's in a directory. If you don't have one of those, you can email me. If you don't have that, you could Snapchat me, Facebook. But get a hold of me some way. I'm all over the place, I promise. It's not hard to find. But get a hold of me if you need anything, a prayer, a chat, anything. I'd love to just talk with you or whatever. If you need anything, let me know. I look forward to seeing you guys again sometime. Until then, have a great week. Have a great school year. Have everything. I love you guys. Bye.